is Amy with Flower Moxie, and we're gonna talk about dahlias. So we get a lot of requests for dahlias, and I sold them initially with all the disclaimers, and I found it just too stressful. As a florist, when I work with really fussy flowers that I know that I'm gonna have a lot of loss on, it's not really that big of a deal because I pad it into my quotes and into my invoice. So when I have that loss, it's not a surprise to me. But with a DIY bride, if she's expecting to get 5 of these, because that's what comes in a bunch, and she loses 3, which is typically what I lose with dahlias, it's very upsetting, very stressful. And then dahlias are so delicate and sensitive. If they're being shipped with other things, it's easy for them to get crushed. They're temperature sensitive. And when I work with them at weddings, I would take extra and change them throughout the night in the bridal bouquet. So that's what we're dealing with when we work with cafe au lait dinner plate dahlias. So if you want to buy them from somebody else, have at it, or you can just do a faux one. So this is one that I got at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I think they sell some Real Touch ones like on afloral.com, but this is just like a nice silk one. This is very true to what they look like in person. I've actually cut this one down, but it came in so large, and they can really be almost the size of your face sometimes. They can be really large. But because this is faux, I am gonna cut it down probably a little bit more. So if you want that really nice dinner plate dahlia, typically in bouquets you only see 1 to 2 because they're so big. They're just kind of like the showstopper that gets put into the bouquet, and they're a little bit off to the side. So I probably wouldn't do a lot of them, but you can easily mix a faux flower or silk flower with fresh, and you won't know the difference. So for this, I have this bouquet that I just built, and we would want to add it in. So if I'm just gonna hold it up, it feels a little bit big in comparison to the other things. So I'm gonna cut it down a little bit just to make it a little bit more size appropriate. And basically I just go petal by petal, and we're just cutting it down. We're not gonna see the backside. And if you're a new florist, talking to your clients about silk, if they have their heart set on something, is a really good move. Of course, in your contract, you never wanna guarantee a flower, and being a professional florist and padding that into your quote, obviously, you can order cafe au lait dinner plate dahlias, but they're seasonal, and they come in sometimes to the wholesaler looking really rough. So if it's something that a bride just is really loving this flower, I would have the conversation with my client of like, hey, that's a really sensitive flower. If it's off crop, how do you feel about a fake one? You can't tell the difference when you mix it with fresh. So, let me know what your thoughts are on that. So I would always do that with my clients when it came to dahlias or anemones. Those were the 2 that were really, like when someone wants it, they're really specific. Okay, so I've cut this down a little bit. I think this is a little bit more size appropriate since it's fake. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna buddy tape it to a trash stem. So this is a stem of, I'd already built something. And so I cut off the wire portion of this dahlia. It was really long, had really ugly greenery. I don't wanna pull a fake stem into a real stem, a fresh stem bouquet. So I'm going to buddy tape it. And that's where I take stem tape or waterproof floral tape, and I'm just wrapping it around and basically creating an extension for this faux dahlia. If you've ever broken your toe before, then you know all about buddy taping things. Do they still do that? That's used to be. I grew up in the country, so breaking your toe was like a regular thing, and it was like, just buddy tape it. Okay, so now we have this faux dahlia attached to a real stem, and it's all taped and ready to go. I'm going to cut this bouquet, cut the handle or the zip tie off this bouquet and put it in, and we'll take a look at it and see how we feel. Okay, so I pulled this dahlia into this bouquet. You know, working with these for years and looking at this in the mirror, this looks identical of the real thing, especially when it's mixed with fresh and fresh greenery. You're not going to be able to tell that it's fake. You're not going to have to deal with the stress of fussing with a real one, and that way you can have the look that you want and not have to have the extra expense, the loss, and the frustration of caring for them. So if you have any questions, leave them below. Thank you so much for your requests. Don't forget to like and subscribe and visit flowermoxie.com. Thank you so much.